All right. So in the emerging leader space, like I said, we are equipping you to move forward. And so this is the time where you start to, if you haven't already, because most of you, being in this space, especially going Ruby, you have taken a sense of ownership of your business, but it's time to take that ownership to the next level and really start walking as a true business owner. Good evening, Audrey. And so the best way to start taking ownership of your business is literally to start studying and learning the ins and outs of the business that you are a part of. And so sometimes you jump in and we call it ignorance on fire. You're just going. You're listening to your mentor. You're being coachable. You're being willing. And so you haven't really fully grasped the full picture because you're just doing what you're told to do. But in this space, it's now time to really start studying the business that you are a part of, learning the ins and outs, looking and printing out the compensation plan, watching the compensation videos, and really learning where your money comes from. Because again, this is a space where you're turning around and teaching. And so you have to know the ins and outs of your business to teach it. And so this is where you want to really start digging in and diving in and seeing exactly what it is that you're a part of, paying attention and getting on the calls, the Sunday night calls, the Monday night calls, paying attention to the promotions that are out, paying attention to the product promotions that are out so that you can be in a space to really turn around and teach your team and be in a place to where when you're asked the question, you know the answer. Now, you won't know everything. You'll still need your oversight. You'll still need to ask for help, but you want to be in a place to where you're actually sufficient to be a teacher. And so you also want to be duplicating your upline. So at this point, you want to be thinking about, what did my upline do with me? And say, for instance, and I'll just speak for me, if it was Miss Shania, in this situation, what would Brittany do? Like, this is what you need to be thinking about, like duplicating. Okay, so when I came into the business, what was the first thing that we did? What was it that helped me grasp the picture and grasp the concept? What was it that we have a launch party? Okay, so now I need to have a launch party with my newbies. And so this is a place to where you start to really, really duplicate the things that your leadership is doing. Again, turning around and teaching. And then you also, this is where you start to set your own goals. Because again, we're in business for ourselves, but we're not in business by ourselves. And so you want to actually start being accountable to you. And so a lot of times we're okay with being held accountable by our uplines. We may be accountable to our downlines, but we haven't really gotten into a place to where if nobody's looking, then I'm not doing anything, because I'm not in a place to where I'm accountable to me and my goals are super important to me. Those of you guys who are just hopping in, we want to make sure that you are actually grasping what you need from this space. So if you can, come into the room. I don't want to see a lot of black boxes. When you're in my position, you're not going to want to see a lot of black boxes either. So come into the room. And if you can't, drop in the comments why you can't come into the room, but I would love to see your faces. We are actually in a business meeting. We're in a business meeting. And so you want to start to be accountable to yourself. So you want to start to have those goals and those mile markers and those milestones that you desire to reach. So that you can have a sense of urgency yourself, so that you can start being accountable to you, so that it hurts not only your upline or your downline when you don't reach your goals, it actually hurts you. It makes you feel some type of way that you didn't give your all. And so you want to start having your own goals. What are your goals for this month? Your personal goals for this month. I know you have a goal that is attached to your upline and your downline, but what do you want your business to look like this month? What areas of do you want to grow in this month? What things are non-negotiable for you on a day-to-day? These are the things that you want to start thinking about as an emerging leader and walking into leadership, because the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. And so you have to understand that you set the tone. And the only way that you can set the right tone is to have your own goals and start to be accountable to yourself. And so those are some of the mindset things, because we always want to have our minds and hearts in a place to where when we start to do the practical things, it all makes sense. So right now, does anybody have any questions or comments? Anybody have anything on their heart and mind in this moment before we move on to practical tips?
I have a question. This is Audrey. I'm new to the team. How are you guys doing?
Hey.
Thank you so much for sharing. My sponsor is Cassandra Savage. And my question is for you, because I saw you. I woke up late one night. But anyway, I ended up watching YouTube, and the rest is history. I'll share it with you guys one day. But what was the one thing that when you started the business that helped you to stay focused with your training, even because life be lifing? What was that one thing that helped you? If you could share that.
Okay.
Please.
So yes, it's going to be kind of like a two-part answer. So the one thing that made me just stay planted in general was the fact that when I hit submit on my order to get my business builder kit, I decided that this was going to work, that I was going to figure it out. Quitting was never on the table. So that was the first thing. I started it. I finished what I started. So if I'm gonna start something, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to give it time to work. And so that was the first thing. And so because of that, because I made the decision that I wasn't gonna back down and I wasn't gonna just give up, it made me stay in the room. And so staying in the room, being present, coming around the team is where you learn. It's where you get to see the things that need to be duplicated. It's where you get to do the self-reflection, because you are in the room with people who are doing things that you should be doing and going places that you say you want to go. So when you're in the midst of the fire, you get to look at you. The mirror is always turned on you, because you get to examine and reflect on what you are or are not doing. And so that keeps you in a place of self-reflection. So it keeps you in a place of knowing your areas of opportunity to grow. And
That's great.
Yeah, in that turn, you start growing, and again, you get better. So that would be my
That's great. I appreciate it. And thank you very much for being transparent. And that's where I am. It's like I know what I need to do. And it's like, I'm like, okay, let me get my book. I know I need to get on this call. So let me just plug in and go for it. So, all right. Thank you so much for sharing.
It's half the battle. You win in half the battle already.
Okay. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure. Anybody else? That was a good question. That was a very good question. Anybody else?
I didn't have a question, but I wanted to share something. Also, an hourly calendar is very beneficial.
I'm going into practical things here in a second.
Oh, haha.
You can share that as soon as you can share. You'll share your testimony.
Thank you for the excitement, though. I appreciate
it. I love it, Tiana. Any other questions before we move into the practical tips on, well, my practical tips? Because you'll actually be seeing one of the lovely leaders every single week and hearing what it looks like to be an emerging leader from their eyes and their perspectives. So you want to make sure that you're on every single week, because you don't want to miss it. All of us are different and all of us have different eyes. And so you're going to learn something new. So this training will be new every single week, even though it's called the same thing. It will be new every single week. But okay. No questions. We're gonna go on. And so make sure that you have pen and paper out so that you're taking notes and that you can follow along with what I'm saying. So practical tips for walking as an emerging leader. Number one thing, know where you're going. Know where you're going. At the beginning of the month, you need to know where you're going. Really, before the beginning of the month, you need to know where you're going, but definitely on the first, decide where you're going. Know where you're going. Because then you can have your charts printed, which is the next most important thing, is charting. And so knowing where you're going will set you up to have the correct chart, and your chart is your roadmap. This is what puts you in a place to create that sense of urgency for yourself. And again, start to be accountable to you and holding yourself accountable. Once you hold yourself accountable to that team or to that chart, you will turn around and start to hold your team accountable to the chart. Again, you do something, turn around and teach it. You learn something, turn around and teach it. But you know where you're going, then have your chart. Every single morning, you should be waking up after your SDPD, charting. You should be logging into eSuite or opening up your app and charting, looking at your numbers. So where do you find your numbers? It will be different depending on what rank you're going. But for rubies, where are you going to go to chart? If you're using eSuite, you're going to log into eSuite. You're going to click reports, additional reports, volume total by leg. Because as a ruby, you should have at least 3 legs. And so when you look at that report each morning, you will see how many legs you got. If you don't have 3, then that lets you know you need to recruit. That's a priority. If you have your 3, then it will let you know who you need to focus on and help that day. Who do you need to teach? Who you need to reach out and get in your space that day? If you're going emerald, you're going to, and you're using eSuite to chart. You're going to log into eSuite. You're going to click reports. Then you're going to click tree viewer. And this is where you will chart from. Using the app, you'll just open up your app. You'll click business. And then I think it's team overview. Let me look, because I just be clicking. Let me look and see. Team view. So team view. And that will break your legs down as well. And that's the same for ruby or emerald, diamond, wherever you're going. You'll chart the same way using the app. And so your chart is your roadmap. It literally sets the tone and the focus for your day, and it shows you who you need to turn the heat up on. And sometimes you need to turn the heat up on yourself. So to let you know if you need to turn the heat up on you, and then who else you need to bring into the kitchen with the hot heat. And so those are the two, or the main practical things. Know where you're going. So then you have your chart and you can look at that every single morning. Second thing, after you look at your chart, you need to reach out to your upline. You should be sending them a picture. They should not be reaching out to you. If you are an emerging leader and you are taking ownership of your business, they shouldn't have to look for you. They shouldn't have to check for you. You should honestly be looking at beating their door down, because that's really making them better. And it's actually holding them accountable in a way. So you should be reaching out to your upline, sharing a picture of your chart, and sharing your game plan for the day and your goal. So your goal, you should be sending a picture, saying your goal for your day in relationship to where you are, to where you're going to be, and your game plan to execute it. As an emerging leader, again, you should have daily, weekly, monthly goals. Having those daily, weekly, monthly goals, again, goes back into charting. So based on your daily goal, your weekly goal, and your monthly goal, that is what you will be speaking to your upline with in terms of strategy. You want to reach out and be partnering with your upline, because again, you're emerging. So you're still growing, you're still learning. And so they're your oversight. You guys are collaborating in this space because they have more wisdom. And so as you're sharing your game plan, they may be able to help you tweak it. What did Shantae say? 1 degree. You could be 1 degree off, and that can change everything. And so you collaborating with your upline will make sure that you are not off that 1 degree. And if you are, that will help you pivot so that you can be successful and win the day. Next thing, you want to be connecting with your team every single day. At this point, the people up underneath you, they may or may not be in a place of ownership. They may be new, brand new. And so at this point, it is your responsibility to make sure that you connect with them. And this is the place where you do not allow, this is the place where you learn to be the thermostat and not the thermometer. You do not allow your team participation or lack of participation dictate your leadership. And so, for example, if you reach out and they respond or not, that does not give you the excuse or the okay not to keep reaching out every single day. Because what? You're the thermostat. So you're setting the temperature. You're setting the pace. You're setting the expectation. And so this is the time where it's rising. It's like sink or swim. In this space, we're giving you those. This is where you have the, let's say, you have the the floaties on. So you're in the water and you have the floaties on, or you have the life vest, because you have your upline, which is your support, kind of keeping you afloat, because you don't know how to swim that good on your own. And so this is the space before you go into the Olympic swimmer. This is the training grounds. And so you got to think of yourself as someone training to be an Olympic swimmer, and your upline is your life vest or your floaties or your board holding you up. Any questions? so far?
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So, say my camera off because I'm cleaning up. So, like, yeah. But my question is, since I got two people sitting underneath me, does that mean I have to follow up with them every day?
Yes, you should. Yes, ma'am. Unless it's
Oh, I didn't know that.
yep.
Oh, okay.
You want them
I
to
had
be
no idea.
you want them to be successful, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're teaching them in this moment, along with your upline too. Your upline supporting you. So me supporting you, but or you got Miss Shania supporting you, Talisa supporting you. But essentially, yeah, you want to reach out to them because you want them to stay excited. So this is the way that you want to look at your new distributors and why you want to reach out to them every single day and be in their space. You want to kind of be I'm overbearing. So I'm gonna say you want to be overbearing in the beginning because they don't have a community outside of you in the beginning. So most of the time when someone is starting this business, their friends and family, and y'all know it because y'all reached out to your friends and family, don't understand what they're doing. And 9 times out of 10 are not as supportive. And so because they're surrounded 90% of the time, the people in their surroundings don't understand what they're doing. You want to be in their face and you want to pull them into your community so that they have that support and they have that family. So I'm my brand new distributor's #1 support, and I'm their bestie because I understand that probably anybody else out in their life outside of me don't understand what they're doing and they're not going to give them the best advice. And so I want them to run to me when they feel some type of way or they have a question or they feel a little discouraged in their business. I don't want them to run to somebody else who's not going to give them the proper perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I do have one friend though. She's pretty much like my sister. I know her since I was like 13. She is a business owner, her and her husband. So they're always giving me business advice and telling me how other people will never understand or they will never understand from my point of view because they're not doing what I'm doing. So they think on it it's easier, but it's a lot of more hard work than they expect it to be or that they think it is because they don't have the brain capacity to do what we're doing.
Right. So exactly. And so that's why you want them in your space. Yep. Yes, ma'am. That was a good question. Thank you. Any other ones? Any other questions? Oh yeah, share your tip, Tiana.
No, I was actually gonna ask a question this time.
Okay, go ahead.
So, how do we go about letting our downlines know that they should take a Sabbath day?
You do it. You do it, and then you just continue to speak on it. A resource that you can use is the Take a Day Off series by Pastor Todd. You can send it to them and allow them and have them watch it, but essentially it's going to be their own conviction. And so you just continue to take a Sabbath and speak on how you love it, speak on what it does for you, and continue to encourage them to do it. But essentially it's going to have to be them doing it on their own. You're an example. Just be the example.
Do we reach out to them on that day as well? Because you mentioned that we reach out to them every day.
But your Sabbath, every day but your Sabbath. And so as an emerging leader, what you should be doing, again, this is collaboration with your upline. Before you go out, you should be connecting them to your upline or connecting them in a, say for instance, you're going diamond and you got an emerald up under you, you place somebody. Oh yes, and it's in the newbie launch day 7. And you place somebody up under somebody, you should be connecting them with them if you guys don't have the same Sabbath. So before you go out, you should just be connecting them with someone so that they have support. Good question.
Okay, hold on.
Tiana?
I couldn't hear you. My phone was ringing.
Okay, what's the
I'm
last
sorry.
You okay?
The last thing I heard was connect them with my upline before I go.
Yep. So that they can definitely have some support. If say for instance you and your upline have the same day off, then you can reach out to a sideline. But essentially we have group chats and stuff like that, so they'll be supported.
Okay.
Yeah, just make sure they're plugged in. It's making sure they're connected. Yep. So they'll be supported. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Always You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions? What y'all feel? Y'all feel like y'all equipped to start walking as leaders?
Equipped and got to study and get that education.
Go ahead, Kiana.
So say that you have more than one new DT. How would you recommend going by onboarding and training them one at a time, or both of them on together so they can get the information at the same time, or they really need that one-on-one interaction with you at first?
They really need that one-on-one interaction with you at first. You want to create that bond. You want to create that relationship with them one-on-one. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be too much in the beginning to try to train 2 newbies in the same space, because both of them are at different levels. So, one may need something where the other one may need something different. And so as they start to get the hang of things, you guys can start to maybe have a group, session. But in terms of training, it needs to be a one-to-one space. Yep. So that they can feel comfortable to ask the questions. Sometimes people are not comfortable unmuting and being in a group setting, small or large. So they need to, feel comfortable with sharing their screen and all of that for you. So you want to have that one-to-one, and it allows you to get to know them and them get to know you. And again, just the connectivity is important in the beginning.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And then one may be discouraged and one may not, and you don't want to mix hot and cold. And that's just the reality. Y'all coming with some good questions. Come on, who else got another way?
Okay, I want to answer your question. When you said, do y'all feel like y'all ready to walk as leaders?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I'm getting close.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've done I did retail for like 13, 14 years. So even though it's different,
Mm-hmm.
like I was in leader transition there and I had people up under me there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I'm almost ready. I'm almost getting there. Mm-hmm. But when I be talking to them, I be feeling like I'm hounding them and I don't want to be like too pushy. But sometimes I feel like I have to and I don't want to. But yeah.
You're saying something good. Okay. So one of the things I love to tell people is to remember the skills from the last space that you were in and you excelled in, and just translate those skills over here. So that's good. Yes, you were a leader in one space, so you can be a leader in any space. And so yes, those leadership skills you learn in the retail, definitely translate and see how they can, translate over here into this space. Number 2, it's your job to get the best out of your team. And so it is your job to push them to be better. And so you don't want to beat around the bush, because then you're going to be mad when they walk around a bush. But then you can't go around the bush. And then you always want to say the things that need to be said, because at the end of the day, you want to help them make money. You want to help them be successful. And sometimes if you're not honest and you're not hard and you're not pushy on them, which you're not pushy, you're just being assertive, they won't make any money, and then they're going to leave anyway. So while you're scared to push them and break them, they're going to leave anyway if they're not being successful. And so you want to be on them because you care about them. You want them to be successful.
To show, you're absolutely right.
And so just continue to show up to these spaces, girl. You will definitely feel equipped the more and more you come into these spaces.
Okay.
All right. what was I going to say? Oh, what's one thing that you guys are going to take away from this space today and implement? Unmute if you can and share. One thing that you learned.
I was just about to say unmute.
One thing that you learned this evening that you're going to implement. Or one thing that you was like, I didn't think of it that way. Share one thing you got.
I would say pushing harder. Like instead of like, I do push throughout the rest of the month or whatever, but I would say push harder, more so at the beginning and the middle of the month versus pushing my hardest at the end. But pushing harder, like more so every single day. Like all my posts now got my number on them, all of them. Like y'all gonna find me one way or another. Like all of my posts. So pushing harder the whole month long. So instead of doing like 1 4-in-1 a month, I could try to do 2 in 1 month and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. So that goes back to having those daily, weekly, monthly goals to create that sense of urgency for yourself. Yep. Who else?
Me?
Yeah, come on.
I would say building a better foundation regarding going all the way back to the first practical tip that you said, which was know where you're going, and creating that roadmap and having an accountability chart.
That's good. That's good.
Well, one thing I'm going to implement is really holding me accountable. That's been holding me accountable. I can hold everybody else accountable, but sometimes I can't hold myself accountable. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Can't be a manager.
Oh no, Miss Why did it, and she be holding me accountable. She did not. She did not. She did not. How dare you, Miss Y?
Go ahead, Kiana.
Well, I'm just being truthful, girl.
I say holding myself accountable and collaborating with my team, because I'm kind of bad at that. And being a leader, I got to understand that I'm not in it by myself, and I can't do everything by myself. I have to collaborate with my upline, and I have to get my people under me pumped and ready and excited, and I can't do this by myself. And I do care about them. I want them to make money too, and I want them to be, yeah.
So good. Y'all know training is like something that I love. So I am like, my heart is filled.
Speaking of training.
Oh, now I mean you went mute again.
Janetta said she's waiting for you to help her get started.
Where you at, girl?
Yeah, I just texted her right now. She's like, Brittany's supposed to help me.
I'm saying where you at?
Me?
Yeah. What was the second thing I said?
So you gotta stay on your people that you sign on. Yeah, this is true. Right. But she said Brittany.
I'm definitely there to support you. Definitely. But yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask her what she needs help with.
Yep, she looking for me because where you at? But again, that was what you needed clarity on in this training space. So
this is true. I learned that today.
See?
Yeah, I learned that today.
Yes. But we can definitely set a time if you need assistance for sure.
Okay. I just text her right now.
Okay. Well, yep, just let me know.
Okay.
I just want to add something to what you said, Brittany. For everybody, is the great thing about this business is that you are able to earn while you learn. So always stay in the learning mentality while you're earning and while you're going the different ranks. Every rank that you're going to, you're going to learn something different. And even once you hit like the emerald, the diamond, the double diamond, you are still going to be learning from your upline because you've never been diamond before. You never been double diamond before. You never been triple. So although this is the rubies and emerald emerging leaders, the education and the learning process is going to continue because you're going to get to another level to where you're still going to be learning because you've never been that before. So don't ever think that, okay, I'm an emerald, I'm just going to stop doing all the things that got me to emerald. Don't do that. Continue to take these steps and continue to take everything that Brittany is telling you and the rest of the leaders for this month that they're going to tell you as you walk into those diamond, double diamond, ambassador diamonds, because you've never been that before. And your upline, they have been. So just remember that, like, it's always going to be a learning. This is a learning business. At the end of the day, we're learning new things. So I just want you guys to remember that. Speaking from experience is like, oh, now I'm this. No, continue to learn. I just want you guys to know that right now. So y'all don't think, oh, okay, I did whatever I had to do. Let me make sure I know everything. No, 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 no. You do not have to know everything. Continue to learn every single day. That's all I want to say.
Yes, you've never arrived. So get that in your mind right now. I have never arrived. There will always be an area to become, an area to grow in, an area that you can improve in and be better. So you have never arrived. And like Erica said, you don't want to stop doing the things that you did to get to one place. You want to actually add on. So you're going to learn something at one level and you're going to continue to do that, but to get to the next level, you're just going to add something in new to the mix. And so again, it's not necessarily doing more to go a different rank, it's helping more. And so it goes back to what I said in the beginning. You are at a space to now where you are turning around and teaching and helping. And so it's helping more, not necessarily doing more, if that makes sense.
Right.
To add something really quick, I know who all has a full-time or have ever been in a position of management before? Drop one in the chat for me real quick. If you're a full-time and you have people under you, you're managing some people, because I felt like it's a couple people on here that work in either retail, corporate space. Okay. All right. So I want you guys to think of an emerging leader as like there's a position open, right? And in order for you to get that position, you have to train somebody to take your current position. And so as an emerging leader, you are creating a succession plan. So you are coaching, you are mentoring someone to take your spot. So then they're going to get a promotion, but then you can go and get the promotion you want. So think of it in that sense. I know for me, I was in corporate retail space for over 16 years. So I had to have that understanding as well. Like I have to train someone to be ruby. I have to train someone to be emerald so then I can elevate. And so in this space, you're training someone, you're mentoring, you're coaching, because you don't want to not train them, because then you can't move until you have a successor. So think of it in that sense too. And just get excited because there's so many things available, not just the weekly bonuses, but the bonuses that they brought out during green carpet. And everybody on here has the ability to get multiple, not one, but multiple. Some of y'all can get all of them. And so it makes sense to do everything that you can to get it and to ask questions. Ask questions. Y'all, I don't know if y'all ever watch Rachel. She asks a lot of questions. and she's very successful at the top of the company. So if she's there and we're here, why wouldn't we ask questions? Like, it just makes sense, right? Like, don't feel a type of way if you need to ask a question. It actually makes you look even better because you're inquisitive. You want to know, you want to improve, you want to grow. And if you're not growing, what are you doing? Right? So be encouraged to ask questions. Be encouraged if you don't know something to reach out to your upline, sideline, whoever. This is the community where we want you to ask the questions. We want you to know. We want you to win. And we want you to create duplication in your team so that you can win even more. Okay?
So good. So good. So last thing I want to just encourage you guys to do as an emerging leader is to walk the walk. So you have to be what you want to be before you ever are it, before you ever get the title. So if you're going diamond, are you acting like a diamond? Are you walking like a diamond? Are you doing what you see the diamonds do? If you're going emerald, are you stepping up into that leadership role and, leading pop-ups or, spaces and, just serving as an emerald leader? And so start to be what it is that you want to be before you are it, because that's the only way that you're going to get there, is to start walking like it. You don't get to diamond and then start acting like a diamond. You don't get to emerald and then start acting like an emerald. You don't get to double and then start acting like double. I had to start acting like a double diamond and walking like a double diamond and believing like a double diamond and saying things with my chest like a double diamond before I was ever there. And so you want to be what you are, regardless of what E-Suite says right now in this moment. And so that was my last thing. I will open the floor for any last questions or anything. Anybody got anything they want to share before we close it out?
Briefly, the hourly calendar is amazing. When we use it, it works wonders. It helps structure and organize your day so you don't waste time, so you don't feel out of place. So make sure that you guys use an hourly calendar to structure your day.
Yes, my calendar is my boss. If it ain't on the calendar, it is not a dire emergency, it's a no. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I was rebellious. I'm single, I ain't got no kids, I don't need no calendar. Oh, yes, you do. Yeah, absolutely do. And so, yes, have those hourly calendars, and not only have them and fill them out, but actually look at them every single day. All right, y'all. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I'm excited to see you guys start walking and start being bold in your leadership and start saying it with your chest and start stepping up and seeing how you can serve and how you can help and how you can share the things and all the wisdom that you have, because each and every one of you has something inside of you, has a perspective that needs to be heard. And so I'm excited to see you guys start walking in that and in those spaces and being the leader that God has called you to be, and taking up your space in this circle. So I'm gonna go ahead and pray us out. We're gonna have a good evening. Make sure that if you have not, or you didn't come to the pop-up earlier and you're in a push, it is a power hour starting at 8 in the next couple of minutes. So stay on if you have the ability to, so that you can make sure that you close your day out strong. Again, you want to win the day. You want to do everything in a day to make sure that you hit the goals that you set for that day and for yourself. Because again, you're being accountable to you, not to me, not to your upline, not to your downline, but to you. So Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much. We thank you so much for these leaders, God. We thank you so much for their hearts, God. We thank you so much for their innovation, God. We thank you so much for everything that you've downloaded into them for them to share. We thank you for who you've called them to be. We just thank you for their lives, God. We thank you for their wisdom. We thank you for their gifts, God, and how they're going to start to walk and share those gifts that you have given only them. Each and every one of us have a specific gift that you've given to only us, and there's someone on the squad in the world that is waiting on them to walk into those gifts so that they can be blessed. And so we're so excited to see them stand up in their leadership. We're so excited for them to be encouraged and inspired and just go to that next level, God, and take their businesses to that next level, God. And so just continue to strengthen them in their walk, continue to give them the courage and the boldness to say the things that need to be said so that their teams can start winning on a massive level along with them, God. And so we just love you, God. We do everything to glorify and magnify your kingdom, God, and bring hearts and minds to you. And so we thank you for this vehicle that you blessed us with. And I just ask that you continue to wrap your loving arms around them as they walk forth in who you've called them to be. It's in your son, Jesus' name, I pray tonight. Amen. Bye, y'all.